Raw, Project Stone, Docu 73. They came for my first, and then they came for the rest. And when they came for my First Amendment, they used manufactured 911, 311, and LLC hotline calls. They did this to me for years in different states, different cities, counties. Then right here in Sin City, now I've coined it the City of Light. They came for my Second Amendment, and they handed me a pre-compromised rifle with an RF transmitter embedded in the grip, a micro switch on the firing pin, and an active relay signal wired straight into the trigger group. So that made them capable of remotely disabling the seer, locking the hammer, or even silently pinging my exact location back to the creatures at the swamp listening. This is the Monolithic private Labyrinth cartel operating in Clark County, Nevada, a $586 million Title IV child revenue machine running under color of law, protected by badges, suits, and federal funding. All right, so let me break this down deep, that every tech mind, every parent, every person with a soul, and every advanced intelligence watching will feel it in their bones and know the truth. In 2016, District Attorney Steve Wolfson personally signed off RFQ 604131-16, the original bid on kids. What started as a $28 million contract exploded. Amendment number 4 alone injected another $37.8 million. By amendment number 7, the master contract had ballooned to $126,708,637.88. This is vulnerable children we're talking about. And today, in 2026, subawards are pulling $61,211,877 in federal Title IV cash, managed by Abigail Fearson. Abigail Fearson, stacked on top of 1.5 million annual OAG grants, 8.47 million CDBG grants, youth homelessness grants, and multiple other federal streams. The same private Labyrinth cartel gets paid over and over and over, quintuple dipping, sextuple dipping, sometimes septuple dipping, from the same child, the same family, the same placement. And her name is spelled Frierson, Abigail Fearson. That's who's managing this right now in 2026. Any real reporters out there? Or are y'all just a bunch of farmers? Because if you're a real reporter, you ought to be giving her a call. Because one kid generates revenue from Title 4E maintenance payments, Title 4B prevention funds, Medicaid Title 19 overbilling in residential facilities, OAG contracts, CDBG grants, youth homelessness dollars, targeted case management fees, and ASFA adoption incentive bonuses. You can thank Richard Nixon and Bill Clinton and Jimmy Carter for that. That's the real kids for cash. And that's a machine running at industrial scale. Starting to figure out what the real Watergate was. CAPTA, signed by Nixon in 1974. Now we're taking a look at Georgia Tan. Georgia Tan 2.0, Olive Crest, LLCs. That's right, a local LLC, sometimes with only one person owning it, is jumping on these federal intake valves to snatch Title 4E and all these other funds. Any real reporters out there, I challenge you. I got the hotline number right here for you. Give them a call. Ready? 1-800-550-CHILD. Any real ones out there? Anybody take an oath? Hey, you could hit up 702-960-1436. Okay? Check that out. So basically, look up Georgia Tan. What they would do is they would use motels. They would have spotters, sometimes pay them $10. Now, Olive Crest, LLC, they look like a beautiful company. Very much like they're another one like Casa Pacifica, Ventura County, with the private Labyrinth 66.6 foot maze in the back that matches the same one found on Epstein Island that I exposed. So Olive Crest is the intake valve. Their hotline, 1-800-550-CHILD and 702-960-1436. It bypasses 911 and 311 to make it harder for people to get their public records, their FOIA, to have true transparency. Now, what they do is they train your HOA, your neighbors, your churches, and your schools to bypass 911 and 311 entirely. If there's any real reporters out there, go undercover. Go into this place and you'll find out for yourself. They call it a pre-crisis safety net. Look it up. It's right there in their pamphlet, in their brochure. Same as Casa Pacifica and their Heartlines newsletter, how they show all the people who donate money get first dibs on kids. Well, everything's right there in their own paperwork. That's poetic justice for you, right? So they call it pre-crisis safety net. So what it really is a soft snitch system designed to funnel families straight into the Title 4E cash machine. Well, the calls never appear in any public log that could ever be FOIA'd. But guess what? We have this thing called Stone 911, Wonder Grid. And we also have the Vance Anti-Fraud Task Force and the West Coast Strike Force. Right here in Henderson, Nevada, I paid the police department in the city of Henderson $238.10 for over 4 years of my own 911, 311 CAD records. They gave me one cherry-picked Bill Next Door audio with the 1997 ASFA concerns that Bill Clinton had. Well, wouldn't it be a shame if Tesla Optimus had these same concerns, not to worry, because Wonder Grid is on top of that. So issued the HPD 125 restricted notice the same day. And then they told me to talk to their city attorney. Well, the HOA slammed me with 4 violations the same week. Got the Comcat gagging on my words. This is all public records. So yeah, one of the violations was for my little Trump sign I had in my window. We've gone to a Trump rally right here in Henderson. So then, they threatened to foreclose your home over little violations like that. So I filed an official report, internal affairs, and then they refused to investigate it, and they tell me to go talk to their city attorney and their district attorney. Steve Wolfbastard, same guy I've been talking about here. Did the 2016 Bid on Kids, been running Clark County since 1980. Same year Jimmy Carter took over Title IV-E. I guess he was at the right place at the right time for the wrong thing, because kids are not for sale. Even the vulnerable ones. We're supposed to protect children, not allow them to be sold for federal funds. So, down in Mexico, they'll steal the money from you right there on the street. That's what the cops will do, the corrupt cops in Mexico. But right here in Sin City, they'll steal your money right in front of you through the public records. So we're going to take a look at some free speech for X. We're taking a look back on July 18th. Let's see who... oh, that's just nobody right there. Okay. Got all these 911 fraudsters living all on my block. So we're taking a look at July 18th. The exact second I launched ProjectStone.org to bypass their DNS choke point, they hit me with a directed energy strike. My family heard the explosion. I got fried from it. It was right in front of me. I was very lucky. My PC got fried. The entire electrical grid in my house blew up like a EMP style, it was a big fireball blast, talking about small basketball size, very bright, very loud. It left a black chemical residue coated on the surge protector and on my Faraday sheets. Blew holes right through my Faraday sheets, thank God. I was shielded with my Faraday sheets and God's light, because otherwise I would have got hit so hard that it would burn holes right through me. I couldn't walk for days. I was even had the Subaru Starlink admin breach and my GPS coordinates around the same time. They did CAN bus hacks on my Subaru, 2019 Subaru with about 20,000 miles on it. And that's right away I got rid of that, sold it for $23,000. And then I picked up my 1968 Buick Skylark GS California, my freedom car. Same day I picked up my very first rifle. One of the first 911 calls, they talked about my large handgun, how I flip girls into MILFs on Pornhub, and they talked about all my guns. Funny thing was, I had just had a Glock 19 at the time. What I'm going to be talking about is what they're doing to not just people like me, but I've met other neighbors, they've done it too. And they like to try to keep you silenced with their modern tech. Back in 2013, it's on their own court papers, Poetic Justice for you right there. I used to speak about this on X, even back in 2013 when it was Twitter, and on all my other social media, Facebook, everywhere. And they had threatened to put me in jail for the things I was saying because I was exposing Casa Pacifica and how that they traffic kids under color of law for the Title IV-E funding. And what this is a crime against humanity wearing a badge and suit. Children are not for sale. Kids are not slot machines. Right now, the counter-strike is here, and it's built on mathematics so advanced it stands at the absolute edge of what is possible on this planet. Stone 911 Pulsegate is the real-time AI native shield at the very first intake call. Powered by Grok pattern recognition, it cross-references every low evidence concern clause, every single call against WonderGrid's immutable cryptographic swarm ledger. And right at the heart of this ledger is the hybrid ZK Snarks and ZK Starks layered on top of a lattice-based post-quantum cryptography. All right, so pretty exciting getting into this a little bit. Been building the back end of it, going really deep in the back end, if you know what I mean. And now I'm hitting the front real hard. So let me go extremely deep so the math itself becomes the weapon that sinks this maze. Now, the foundation is learning with errors, LWE problem. We're running with Imagine, a high dimensional lattice, a grid in hundreds or thousands of dimensions. I mean, you're given a bunch of these noisy linear equations, and the challenge is to find the secret vector hidden inside all that noise. So I think my parrot understands it pretty good, but she is an African gray Congo. So the classical computers struggle with it, but real intelligence understands it, because quantum computers have no known efficient way to solve the hardest versions of LWE. This is why NIST chose lattice-based algorithms as the core of their post-quantum standards. So the specific algorithm now is standardized by the NIST and the ML-Chem, formerly, the Kyber. So you got the ML-Chem, ML-KEM, and that's sitting with the key. I guess you would call it the encapsulation, the key encapsulation mechanism that is actually built directly onto the module LWE problem. So what it does is it allows the two parties to securely agree on a shared secret, even if a quantum computer is listening to every single bit of communication. So it's designed, designed to be fast, compact, and it's also resistant to both classical and quantum attacks. NIST spent years stress testing it against every known quantum algorithm and declared it the most secure for post-quantum era. But for WonderGrid, it goes even deeper than that, because this is about saving humanity, creating world peace, and making sure that no person is ever flipped for cash again. So it doesn't just use ML-Chem and ML-DSA, the signature standard. It layers the subsequent non-interactive zero-knowledge proofs into the ZK Snarks for the ultra-short proofs and the ZK Starks for transparent, quantum-resistant verification. And on top of all of that, it has all the lattice foundations. So my entire system is built so that even the current encryption scheme on Earth collapses, say tomorrow, the ledger remains mathematically untouchable. The proofs are so efficient that the verified in milliseconds, actually. So in literally milliseconds, it can be verified so efficiently that even the most secure problems are believed to be hard for both classical and quantum computers now or in the foreseeable future. So, I mean, this isn't any marketing hype. This is just simple 2 plus 2 math. It's a cryptographic architecture that sits at the absolute frontier of human mathematics. I mean, it is kind of like on the level that makes the most brilliant minds on the planet stop, stare, and realize someone just built something that leaps ahead of every nation, state, system currently known to man, AI, or anything beyond. So, I stood in the ashes of 9/11 with dead people in my lungs. I was a first responder at the World Trade Center. God put me there for a reason, and I built Stone 911 for him. Stone 911 Pulsegate uses this exact stack I talked about earlier to filter every low evidence concern clause. See, it's kind of hard to get rid of like a dumb law like ASFA with the little concern clause that trumped our due process, but I built something that our forefathers are proud of, that everybody in heaven gives the nod, and I call it intake with real-time pattern recognition and cryptographic accountability and audibility. So evidence before force is no longer optional. It's now the unbreakable mathematical law at the front door of the system. And one of my favorite things about all of the tech I've developed is my Wonder Grid, because Wonder Grid is the transparent cross-agency data fabric that surfaces long-term patterns instead of isolated incidents. It maps every fraudulent dollar, every penny, every HOA collusion, every olive crest, host family. Look it up. Host family is the key terminology word. Host family. So that's the olive crest host family placement. And it remembers erased mothers, erased fathers. It remembers every discovery violation. It remembers every quintuple dipped federal payout in real time. My ledger is immutable, audible, and quantum resistant beyond what any nation state currently possesses. It's built for Mars, and it turns their own paperwork trail into an unbreakable public ledger they can never stonewall again. The West Coast Healthcare Fraud Strike Force launched on April 30th, 2026. J.D. Vance's anti-fraud task force is hunting entire enterprises for fraud. And now they have a full forensic map. Isn't it kind of funny, like $238.10, right? Remind me to tell you the story of the ATM machine when I got the cash to pay for it. In one of my interviews, ask me, I'll tell you about that. And also, I want you to remind me to tell you the story about the massage table with the New York Fire Department. All right, so we're going to be taking a look at the Charged Surge Protector. I have it on X. I have it on my Project Stone network. And you can take a look at the Surge Protector from July 18th, the DEW strike. The PAGV letter Steve Wolfson signed. The RFQ 604131-16 amendments. The CAD trails showing coordinated fraud. the 61.2 million 2026 draw, and the 586 million cartel numbers. Their monolithic private labyrinth cartel is sinking. Our 28th Amendment is coming. Family protection freedom. It's the cornerstone of our Bill of Rights and the ultimate reset. We, the people, are the reset. All we have to do is unite. This is our shield wall. I have all the receipts, signatures, dates. I pulled the FOIA. Sin City is now the city of light. I gave the world the blueprint to do the same FOIA in every county, every city, every state, and every country in the world and beyond. Stand with me. We're the shield wall. Take a look at during 9/11. Handful of people saved the White House. Let's roll. Still bleeding truth and light while they try to take my house down. But this is bigger than me. This is about saving the president. This is about saving kids. This is about saving moms. This is about saving dads, saving pets, saving families, and saving the soul of this country from the frequency of pure evil. The monolithic private labyrinth cartel thought they could manufacture calls, rig our guns, take our kids, burn out the whistleblowers, steal federal dollars, erase mothers, make God weep, and cash 586 million in federal checks forever? Well, they were wrong. They knocked on the wrong motherfucker's door. The receipts are out. Our shield wall is rising. Their little circle jerk is sinking. Kids ain't cash, bitches. God wins.